In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up a 20 by 20 party tent from beginning to end so that you guys know exactly what to do when the season starts, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Behind me, you guys will see the equipment that I'm going to need. This is rule number one. Rule number one is to not forget any of your equipment, because if you drive 1 hour away to a customer's house and you realize that you're missing one of these poles, you guys will not be able to set that tent up, and then you're gonna have to waste time to drive all the way back home or to your warehouse to pick up the equipment that you forgot. So rule number one, make sure you double check, triple check, quadruple check your equipment to make sure you have everything you need. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about what it is that you need to set up a 20 by 20 tent all the way from the bottom up. Okay, so first thing you're gonna need is a tarp. Okay, you're gonna need a tarp that's at least 25 by 25. Okay, that way you have space around the edges to work on your tent. All right, so this right here is a tarp. That's what this is right here. Now in this tote, we have all the equipment that we need to assemble the perimeter of the tent, including ratchet straps as well as corner pieces and center poles to attach these larger poles around the frame. Okay, so you'll see that this right here, this will take one pole here, and then this side will take a pole here, and it attaches it to make it a larger perimeter on the top. Okay, this is how you complete your frame tent. The next thing is these cross cables. These are the cables that allow you to set up your tent without having to put a pole from the ground up. Okay, so this right here will carry your center pole so that you can have that nice peak on the top. That's what these are for. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to set everything up, so don't worry. Okay, it might seem a little intimidating, but make sure you guys have a tote to carry these small pieces, because if you don't have all these small items to set up your tent, it's not going to look the best for your customer's event. Okay, so make sure you guys have this tote, make sure you guys have all this equipment ready to go. All right, now since this is a frame tent, you guys need the poles, obviously. Okay, so these right here are the perimeter poles that go around the top of the tent. So I have 8 of these. It takes 8 of these poles to complete the perimeter around the top of the tent. Okay, since the tent has 4 legs, I have 4 poles on this side. So these are 7-foot poles, these are 9-foot poles. Okay, so these are your different poles that you need 8 of these, and then you need 4 of these for the legs. Now this right here is the actual tent top. Okay, in here is a 20 by 20 tent top that will go on top of the tent. This is what the main attraction is. This is what most people will see, and this is what's gonna make your event look great. Okay, so make sure you don't forget your tent top. This is literally the most important piece. Okay, don't forget this, and don't forget the poles. All right, so let me set this off to the side. If you guys want to look professional, make sure you have your own ladder. Okay, do not go to your customer's house and ask them for their ladder. Have your own ladder. This thing right here is going to save you a lot of time and headache. Plus you have to secure the straps around the tent with this ladder. Okay, so don't forget this at all. In previous videos, you've probably heard me talk about staking a tent. These right here are 42-inch stakes. These go into the ground and they secure your tent. Okay, do not forget these. And if by any chance the customer has wiring or pipes or sprinkler systems underneath the ground and they don't want you to use these stakes, then you need to have water barrels. Okay, so that is your alternative for these, but you have to have stakes. These are very important. Also guys, one of the easiest poles that you guys might forget is the center pole. Okay, this is the pole that goes on the cross cable that forms the peak at the top of the tent. Make sure you have the center pole for whatever tent you have. Okay, if you have 3 tents, make sure you have 3 of those center poles, because without that you will not have the peak on the middle of the tent. Okay, and that's what this looks like right here. So this right here is a center pole. This goes through the hole in the middle of the tent top, and then you guys can even put a flag up here. Okay, which I'll put a link down below where you guys can find all this stuff. But you can actually get different color flags that you can put on here, and it makes your tent look even better. Okay, now this right here is a sledgehammer. Okay, if you guys don't want to spend money on an electric hammer or a gas powered hammer that's like $3,000+, you guys can go to your hardware store and buy one of these. Okay, so you will have to use your elbow grease to put the stakes down, but this right here will save you money if you don't want to invest in a power tool. All right, now that we've talked about the equipment that we need, now we're gonna go ahead and set up the tent. Now, as you guys can see, I am all by myself. I don't have a helper. So if you guys were wondering if you can put a 20 by 20 up by yourself, you can, okay? I do it all the time. As long as you guys are able to keep your balance and you have a little bit of strength, then you guys will be able to get this done. All right, so let's go ahead and set up the tent. I'm gonna hopefully catch all the angles for you so you guys don't have any questions. But if you do have any questions remaining after this video, make sure to drop it down below. All right, let's go. Alright guys, so the first step is to lay out your tarp, okay? This is what the tent top is going to be on so that it doesn't get dirty. So I'm going to lay this out first. This is your workstation. Alright, so now that the tarp is on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out my poles. This right here is going to form the perimeter of the tent. So I'm going to lay these out first, and you guys will see how to do that, alright? Now, when you lay these poles out, make sure to leave a gap in between, because that piece that I showed you earlier that connects them, that's where that piece is going to go. So that's going to save you some time from having to move the poles around. Again, just leave a gap in between. That way you know that that's where that piece goes. All right, so let me keep bringing more poles. All right, so now that I have all the poles laid out, this right here has all my assembly pieces, okay? I'm going to tell you how to attach these so that you guys can put the frame tent together. So the easiest way for me to do it, I lay these out first. I put these in the middle of all the poles. I don't attach them yet, but I put them in the middle. I lay these out first. These are your corner attachments, okay? This is what's going to connect the poles together on each corner. So you have 4 of these. You're going to lay them out on each corner. Alright, so now that I have all the pieces laid out, it's time to assemble the tent, okay? I start off on the corner and work my way around, okay? So I'll attach this first pole and then just go around in a circle to complete the frame of the tent. Alright, so now that I have the corner pieces and the center poles attached, I'm going to go ahead and put the cross cables, okay? So you pretty much just want to cross them from corner to corner, and you guys will see where these ends go on the corner of the tent, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and lay these out. Alright, so now that I have the cross cables attached, now I can go ahead and lay out my tent top, okay? That's the next step. Now, one quick note, with the cross cables, you might need to lift the corner of the tent to be able to attach it, okay? It is very precise. So if you see that it doesn't reach the corner, you just lift up the corner and then you attach the cross cable, okay? So let me grab the tent top and go ahead and lay it out. I put the tent top in the middle of the frame, okay? That's where you want to put it because it's easy to just roll it out to the other end and then just open it all up. Alright guys, so now that we have the tent top laid out, you will notice that this has a corner piece that needs to go around this loop here, okay? So you guys want to go ahead and put that around the corner. Once you have it around this loop, your tent should come with carabiners, okay? So this is a carabiner. You're gonna go ahead and put it through this hole here. And what this does is, it doesn't allow the tent top to just fly out, okay? And later on, once it's all nice and tight, this will never move around, okay? It's gonna be really tight, but this secures it even more. And then this is what attaches down to your stakes, all right? So you wanna make sure you do this around all the edges. Something else that will save you some time is in the middle of the tent top, you guys will see these straps, okay? So you wanna go ahead and just loop these around the actual pole and clip it in. Doing this right here is gonna save you some time when you're actually going around on the ladder, okay? So this right here just saves you an extra step of having to do it with the ladder. You can just do it while it's on the ground. All right, guys, so something else that's important. Once you do 3 of the sides of the tent, there's going to be one side that has a long strap like this, okay? This is the side that you want to put in last because, as you notice, it is harder to get it to the loop, so this strap helps you pull it. Now, even with the strap, it's still hard to do. So the trick here is your tent should also have these anchors that go on the legs, okay? So it'll come with these here. What you want to do is maneuver this around the loop here and just wiggle it in there until it falls into place, okay? And then you just simply pull it out and there you go. And then you want to go ahead and attach the carabiner. That is the way to do it. Now, if you don't want to have to use these, you can actually get the pry bar in the link that I'm going to put in the description box. You can actually find the pry bar to do this a lot easier. But if you don't want to spend the money, you can just use what you already have. One of these anchor pieces can do the trick, okay? You just got to wiggle it around and let it drop in there. All right, so now for the fun part, which is raising the tent. You want to start off on one side, raising 2 legs, okay? So I'm going to go to each corner and put one of the legs in and lift the tent up until it's in an angle, lift it up, okay? And that's going to allow me to get under the tent so that I can put the centerpiece, and then everything is going to start falling into place. All right, so let's do this. All right, so now that we have one side of the tent up, it's time to put the center pole, okay? You want to lead off with the pointy edge, okay? You want to go into the tent with the pointy edge, not the back side. So you're going to lead in this way. That way you don't have to flip it around under the tent and accidentally damage your tent top, okay? So as you can see, the center of the pole went through a hole that's on the top of the tent top there, okay? So you want to make sure you guys are careful inserting this pole, all right? Once it goes in that hole, you guys push it up and leave it angled this way. That way it's holding the tent top up like a cone shape, okay? And this is going to make it easier for you to put the pole on top of the cross cables here. All right, so for a quick pro tip, you guys will notice that one cable is on top of the other, okay? You have to make sure that this pole ends up on top of this cross cable. You want to put it on the one that's on top. That way the bottom one, all you have to do is swing it underneath instead of having to use a lot of pressure to do it the other way, okay? So make sure you lead off with putting the pole on top of the cable, okay? Not the bottom one, the top one. And you guys will see exactly what that looks like. So you saw that right there. It was extremely easy for me to do this and back there, right? It's easy to move. If you do it the other way around, the top cable is going to have a lot of tension. So it's going to require a lot of muscle strength to be able to put it correctly, okay? And right now I'm on flat ground. But if you guys are in an area that's not even, that is going to be almost impossible to do. Now, once you have the cables crossed, you want to make sure that you secure it with the pin that's underneath the center pole. All right, and it hooks around the cables here so that it's nice and secure, okay? This thing right here can carry me. This is very strong, okay? So if I wanted to, you know, do some dips on here, I can do that. These are very strong cables. This is a commercial grade tent. This is not a tent from Amazon. This is a very strong commercial tent. I weigh around 210 pounds. So you guys can see how easily these cables can carry me, okay? All right, so let's continue on with the rest of the setup. All right, guys, for this next step, it's gonna be actually lifting the back side of the tent. And for this, it's going to actually require some strength. So if you're doing it by yourself, this is going to involve some muscle strength, okay, to be able to put up the final corner, because that's going to have all the weight from the rest of the tent. So let me show you what that looks like. Now, if you guys notice, I have it resting on my shoulder, okay? I find this an easy way to do it, because I'm going to just push it up, and at the same time, I'm going to push the pole along with it, raising the tent all the way up to the top, okay? All right, guys, so now you see that the tent is completely up on 4 legs, okay? The next big step is to actually secure all the corners, strap it down so that the tent top is nice and tight, okay? All right, guys, so the way that you guys are going to tighten your tent top is using one of these corner pieces that go under each leg, and you see it has a hook on it, okay? This hook is gonna have a ratchet strap go from the bottom up, which is this one right here, all right? Sorry, I'm having to do this with one hand, but this is the ratchet strap you're gonna use, and it has a small loop underneath, which is this one. So that's gonna go on the hook right there on the leg, okay? And then the final piece that connects to that ratchet strap is this string right here, okay? So this right here is gonna bring the tent top together on the corner. Then you're gonna loop it down to the ratchet strap and tighten it up, all right? And you guys will see that here. All right, guys, so for this step, you will need the ladder. So I'm gonna go to each corner of the tent and make sure that I bring the tent top down and Velcro it so that it's nice and tight on the corners. And then we'll finish it off by connecting the straps and making it nice and tight so that the tent looks nice and sharp for the event. All right, guys, so something I forgot to mention, when you are going around securing the Velcro, make sure you guys pull the carabiner out, okay? You want to maneuver this outside of the Velcro and then connect the Velcro. Do not Velcro this inside the tent top, because this is what you use to secure it to the stake, okay? So make sure you guys do it the right way. Something else you can do around this step is go ahead and take out the tarp, okay? You don't need the tarp anymore. The tent went up, it didn't get dirty, it didn't get damaged. That's what the tarp is all for, okay? All right, so now that we have all of the Velcro nice and tight on the sides of the tent, we're gonna go ahead and ratchet strap them so it can be extremely tight, okay? So as you can see, it has little wrinkles here. Once you ratchet strap it, most of these wrinkles will go away, all right? So that's the importance of going ahead and ratchet strapping this to the actual leg. Now for the leg, you wanna make sure that that corner piece is coming out, okay? You wanna make sure that this hook is on the outside. And what you're gonna do is grab this ratchet strap with this end and hook it in down here. Then you're gonna run it up to the middle of the pole, okay? Now it's gonna be really hard for me to do this and hold the camera at the same time, so I'm gonna put it down and show you what's next. All right, so now that you have the ratchet strap to the center of the pole, you have this single strap that has nothing on it. You're going to pretty much lean your body against this strap here. This is if you're doing it by yourself, but you're gonna put your body against it, that way it doesn't fall, all right? You're gonna grab this single strap and you're gonna loop it through the loops that are right here on the corners of the tent, okay? So you're gonna have little loops here. You loop it through like this, and you guys will see it goes through one end, comes out the other. The end of this strap has a hole, okay? You wanna run this side through this hole, and then you wanna tighten it up, okay? You're just gonna pull it through like so. And then you're gonna go ahead, grab it with your left hand, you grab the strap, and you go ahead and insert this side through the strap, and you're gonna ratchet strap the tent top so that it's nice and tight for the event. As you guys can see, this tent top right here is pretty tight on this corner. I'm gonna do this all the way around the sides, and it's gonna look extra sharp, okay? The next thing that you're gonna do after you ratchet strap is go ahead and put the straps away, okay? So you don't just wanna leave this hanging for your customer because it doesn't look right, okay? So all you have to do is just fold it up, all right? You fold it up nice and neat, and then you just tuck it in underneath the ratchet strap so that you guys can leave it in a presentable manner, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. So now that it's nice and folded, you pull the strap up, you tuck in the folded part underneath the strap, and then you just close it in. And there you go. It's not hanging down. The customer's not gonna have to look at that strap. Now remember that the tent top has a corner that has an extra long strap that helps you put in the corner in the beginning of the setup, okay? This strap, you actually just wanna circle it around. You guys wanna make sure you hide these straps so that your tent looks amazing, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing the rest of the tent on the corners, and then I'll show you guys how to stake it, and we'll be completely done. All right, guys, so now that the tent top corners are all strapped and they're nice and tight, you guys can see how it forms the arch and everything is nice and tight for the customer, okay? And you can see what the tent actually looks like. Now, before you guys stake down the tent, you want to make sure that everything is even, okay? You guys can see that these poles are even here. Obviously, it makes it easier when you're on flat ground. If the land is not even, this is going to be a little challenging, but just make sure it looks as good as possible. That way the event actually looks presentable. All right, guys, so I'm only going to stake one side of the tent because I do have pipes underneath my backyard. All right, so I'm going to use the sledgehammer and the stake to hold down the tent. Now, there is a way to put the stake down so it can maximize how much weight it can hold in case of a storm or anything like that, all right? So the easy thing to do is to come to this corner here and put the stake flat out on the ground. You want to put it on the corner, flat out, okay? And you want to angle it at a 45-degree angle, so straight this way. You don't want to put it that way or this way, straight out to the corner, okay? So you lay it out, and then wherever this stake ends, is where you're going to lift it up, and that's where you're going to hammer it down. You hammer it down right there. Now, once you find out where you're going to hammer it, you want to make sure that it goes straight down, okay? If you have some obstruction like a rock or something, you might have to maneuver it in a way so that you can get it down. But this distance here, that's how you find out how far it needs to be from the tent, okay? You just measure it that way. Now, for the next step, it is self-explanatory. You have to hammer this bad boy into the ground. You want to leave at least 6 inches up off the ground so that you can put the ratchet strap, and I'll show you how to secure the ratchet strap here in a second, okay? But let me go ahead and nail this down. The easiest way I find is to give it a few taps. Give it a few taps, that way it's secure right there and doesn't move too much, and then start hammering it, okay? Do not hammer it right away with your hand right here so that you don't accidentally hit your fingers, okay? You don't want to do that. It's a bad day. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hammer this down. This is the last ratchet strap you should have left. This is the thick one. You'll have a thick one of whatever tent it is you purchase. This is the loop that it has, okay? Now, what you wanna do with this strap is you have this hole right here on this end, okay? You wanna pull this part of the strap through here and make this little hole like this, okay? So you see I folded it in. Now I can tighten it, loosen it, but it does this, right? Okay, this right here is where you're gonna put the stake head. You're gonna put it through the stake head right here, and then you're gonna tighten it, okay? And you'll see that here in a second. So now that you made that small hole that I just showed you, you're gonna put this through the stake head right here, okay? And you're gonna leave it right under the stake head, and then you're gonna pull it tight. You see that? All right? So now it's nice and tight. If I try to pull it out, it doesn't work because it's nice and tight. So the next thing is pulling the carabiner that's on the corner of the tent top down to this and ratchet strapping the actual tent. All right, guys, so now that you have the strap, okay, you're gonna pull the carabiner strap that's on the corner of the tent, and you're gonna loop it through the ratchet strap, pull it through until it's nice and tight, and then you're going to ratchet strap the actual tent. Now, once you have all the sides ratchet strapped, you will see that the tent will tension, okay? Once it's tensioned, it's gonna be very hard to move these legs. So if you need to rearrange them, you have to loosen up one side of the strap or one of the corners so that you can actually move the legs, because if you don't do that, it's gonna be almost impossible to do, okay? So now that we have this nice and tight, we're gonna go ahead and hide the strap so that it's not showing at the customer's event. So that there is how you secure the actual tent with the ratchet strap, okay? You have to do this because if there's a storm, you guys want to make sure that this tent doesn't fly away. it will hurt someone, and then you're gonna get sued and go to jail maybe. Who knows? But anyways, make sure you guys do this, okay? Make sure you take your time when you're strapping the tent down. Make sure that it looks presentable. Make sure that the poles are straight, because if it's at an angle like that, it's gonna look weird, okay? So you guys wanna make sure everything looks nice and sharp. This is the final step. Like I said, I'm only going to show you one side because I do have pipes underneath my backyard that I do not want to puncture. But as you guys can see behind me, that is a complete 20 by 20 setup, okay? Although I've been recording and fixing the angles of the camera, this right here took me about an hour and a half. So if I wasn't recording or doing anything like that, I'll probably finish this in about 40 minutes. So that should give you an idea that you can do this by yourself, as long as you guys have a process and you know what to do, okay? Now, if you guys were wondering where I get this equipment, I will link it down below in the description box. They don't have an affiliate program and they don't sponsor me. But if they ask you where you heard about them, just let them know that I sent you their way, okay? That way they're aware, and maybe they come up with some kind of affiliate program in the future. But I will link it down below for you guys to find. If you have any questions, again, just drop it down below. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and I hope to see you on the next video.